I'm Dr. Doom, and I'm taking over IKonic 3D Studios this week, and I'm gonna be doing a statue of myself in my honor. Because I just wrapped up filming for the new Avengers movie, so I'm doing a statue of myself, and I'm gonna make it look really good and professional, as best as I can. But this is Dr. Doom Gym Edition, because I just got back from the gym. And I'm sweaty and have to hold my mask up because I'm sweaty. Anyways, this is a model produced by CA3D, and I cannot wait to show you what Dr. Doom can do with his own statue and paints, because this is my hobby outside of doing other Doom things. So I'm gonna get to it and end this clip here till I see you outside. Doom out. All right. And this is Dr. Doom after his shower and no mask. My face is clean and no scars. All right. For serious notes, I am doing a Dr. Doom model this week, and this is a good model, really good. I didn't use the pre-supported files for this, but I did use the pre-support for one file, and oops, these are old pre-supports that aren't really meant for some of the newer printers that I was using. And in this video, I'm actually going to try to mend this because, one, this was a gigantic piece in this cape, but I actually have a pretty big layer slice that ended up having a suction cup just because of how big this cape was. And it just probably didn't have enough supports when it came down. But this is such a large piece. It took like 16 hours to print, even on a fast setting. And I'm just trying to mend this slice a little bit and make it look whole, as well as try to film in the seam as well, because I had a little bit of suction on the ends of the seam as well. Just oops, it happens, but I'm gonna try to mend it as well as I possibly can. So I'm gonna end up using some air dry clay for this one and kind of build the structure up a little bit. And I'm going to show you guys the whole process. I've never personally done it, so I hope it works out. And I'll probably seal it with some UV resin and sand it down and use an engraver to get it all good and ready to go so I can actually start painting this model. But that's going to take a little bit of sanding and process and post-production work. So I'm going to get to it because I need to get this model done up by Sunday. So here goes nothing. Outside we go. Alright, jumping straight into our voiceover, we're going to grab a couple dry brushes and we're going to pull out this black gray from Vallejo and we're going to slabber it all over this base to give it a nice not black look.
and start as our base tone. Next color up is neutral gray, as well from Vallejo, and I'm just going to use this lightly over the entire base. Make sure it's dry before, because I do not want to wet blend this. This is actually a dry brush and not a wet blend. So, yep, just going to sprinkle it all over this base. And one of our last colors is, of course, dark tan, and I'm just going to put this over all the little edges and creases of the rock in front of me, and just to bring out one of those last colors before I go into the airbrush effects. Alright, for airbrushing effects, I'm going to pull out a Dragon of Nightshade as well as a Skeleton Horde, and I'm going to use these over the entire base to tint some of the colors as well as add some of that depth slash shadows back into the actual base itself. You'll also see later in this clip that I actually grab a paintbrush full of deck tan and splatter it across the base. I did this because the actual render shows a bunch of white speckles all over the place, so my idea was just going to do a paintbrush splatter and then tint it afterwards as well. Moving over to the actual body pieces, this is where we start out with a dark silver from Acrylic. Have not used this color before, but I didn't shake it well enough, and I should have, but I suck, and that's okay. We all do things. Blend this together, and I'm actually going to dry brush this over the entire leg and body itself. Next color in business is a chainmail from Vallejo, and I'm just going to use this as another dry brush, and I'm just kind of going to go over the recesses slash some of these edges that are over the metal parts. I don't want it to look like it's one color, but I also don't want this chainmail to take over from the dark, so I will also do one more color over this, which will end up being Vallejo silver. Pulling out a skeleton horde, I'm actually going to use this contrast to do exactly what it says. I'm going to contrast the metals and add some I don't even really know what a good word would be to describe this, but I'm just going to tint this metal and make it look not shiny brand new. The actual render shows some of this more bronzy kind of look to the overall model, so I'm going to follow what the render said to do, and I'm just going to go over it and do what I think I should do. Pulling out a Pro Acrylic Dark Bronze, I'm going to use this for his little chest plates, as well as just some light little dry brushes over some of the other metallic medallions over his body as well. So I literally recorded an entire clip and don't believe I actually pressed play on any of it. So long story short, I did not care for my process of fixing that cracked piece of resin, so I found a uncut model from CA on Colts and ended up printing this on my FDM printer, and it actually came out fantastic. I showed a greater detail when I was actually showing it up in front of the camera that did not record. So yes, I ended up just printing this whole piece in FDM, and it actually came out literally flawless. I'm happy with it, and you'll see the final results. Pulling up the base tone for all of the greens, I'm going to use this intermediate green, and I'm just going to use this actually for the base tone over the black, because the green I'm going to use for the actual cloth parts needs a base tone, and this was the perfect tone. It's kind of a yellowish green, and that's going to work perfect for the undertone of the cracks and crevices, little pieces that are detailed into this model. Black green is going to be my actual top green. This is going to be the main green that I'm going to use for this entire model. And I'm just going to use a pretty big brush and just go over this entire thing. And pulling back out that intermediate green, this is going to be my dry brush effect over top of the all the cloths here, and it's going to give a nice depth of detail to the entire model. And this is what I'm going to use on the cape, the hood, the actual main body, as well as the mid torso. So this is going to bring some of those yellowish tones back, as well as just highlight some of the details that were actually modeled into this Dr. Doom. Life change alert. Broadcast this very brightly. I picked up this gallery just pistol grip airbrush, and OMG, I'm going to use this for all of my wide scale detail pieces forever and ever. This thing has a fat cup, it has a 0.38 or a 0.5 nozzle / needle, and you can literally just cover an entire model like without even breathing. It's great. I love it. Pick one up if you don't have one. I'll make sure to leave a link in the description. Gallery is not a sponsor by any means, but I really did like this thing. Going back to that black green, this is going to be, like I said before, the actual main color for his entire suit. And as you can see, a lot of the highlighting from that intermediate green is still going to show through to this dark green. And that's what I really liked about that intermediate green. It still shows the shadows / contrast, and you don't have to go crazy on the dry brush afterwards. Just make sure you thin your paints enough to where it doesn't just cover up the whole model, and you can actually still see some of that yellowish green underneath. And pulling back that intermediate green, I'm just going to do that same dry brush effect that I did over the entire hood and upper body, and I'm just going to use a smaller dry brush, and I'm going to go over the lower torso as well as the cape here. Swiftly moving over to his leather belt, I'm going to pull out this chocolate brown, as this is going to be my base tone for the actual leather pieces around his torso. Yeah, that's what it's called, the torso. After hitting it with a little bit of heat, I'm going to pull out this smoke ink, and I'm going to put this over the entire brown to make it not look so flat and boring. This will actually go into some of the little crevasses that are actually detailed into this thing, but I'm gonna add a little bit of water so it applies very easily. Alright, pulling out this dark bronze from Pro Acrylic, I'm gonna go over the actual little metal pieces that are all over his actual belt and mid-torso. So I'm just gonna go over this with a nice detail brush, and you're gonna sit back and enjoy it. At least I hope so. And just to add a little bit of depth and definition to his belt, I'm going to pull out this mahogany ink, and I'm going to go over the little straps that are on the belt itself. And then again, add a little bit of water so it's easier to paint. And just go to town. I did 2 coats of this overall, and it gave a really good depth to the torso. Alright, from the beginning, after I finished the base, I knew it wasn't quite as dark as I wanted to, so I'm going to pull out some of this Null oil from Citadel, and I'm just going to splatter it all over this base, and this will literally just go into all the recesses, but still show some of those earthy tones / dark tones that I put on before. Null oil is a really good way to add some blackish depth again without losing too much detail. And another clip that I forgot to just press start on. So I actually used a medium flesh tone first underneath his eyes. And then I pulled out this basic skin tone and watered it down quite a bit just so I didn't cover up that medium flesh tone and add a little bit of depth to his eyes, because his eyes are absolutely tiny in this model and my head was literally in the way during all this. So yeah. Pulling out that black green again, as well as just a Vallejo standard black. I'm going to use this to cover in the little irises / eyes that are actually on this model. They're not very big, they're not very prevalent, and they kind of get covered up by the shadows, but just make sure you put them in there anyway. A lot of comics have Dr. Doom as brown eyes, green eyes, some blue eyes. It's kind of all over the spectrum, so I'm just using what I had in front of me and going off what I saw in a comic book reference when I looked up what color his eyes were. And just to add a little bit of cornerish white to his eyes, I'm going to pull out the highlight skin and just dab it in some of the corners so it gives a little bit of depth. And then I'm going to throw a Vallejo gloss over top of it just to seal that in and make it look like he actually has eyeballs and not just flat paint in his face. And at this point in the video, I just get to rub my hands together and start piecing this together. And in this clip, I literally break one of the legs putting the peg in because I didn't shave it down enough and tried to force it in. Oh well. Yes, that's just how the cookie crumbles. Yeah, that's it. I'm just gonna leave it here, and you'll see me at the end of the video, and said it a million times at the end, but I hope you enjoyed what you saw here. I'll see you at the end. Voiceover out.
And we're back with an ending of another video, another model done in the books, ready to go and be put on a shelf and think about how I can make my next model even better than this. CA3D did a great job with this model. This is one of their older models. I want to say two-ish years old. Some of the pre-supports were a little weak for some of the current printers, so obviously I had to correct some of that. And of course, the only one I didn't do was the cape, and I ended up, as you saw, I ended up reprinting this in FDM because I actually found that they offer a complete piece instead of the split piece, which saved me a ton of time. But honestly, I think this model came out pretty sweet. I tried some wet blending across the armor a little bit to try a little bit of something different. I have a couple upcoming models that I'm gonna have to do some slight variation of non-metallic metal, and I really tried to do that here, even just using like a metallic paint. So I gave it my best, and this was actually a perfect model to kind of learn some of that effect on, as well as just some highlighting on the cape, applying some new techniques to the actual base of the rock. to give it a little bit more definition and bring out some of the darker shadows. But overall, I really like this model. Dr. Doom is of course a very well known figure, and I'm excited to put this on my shelf so I can look at it and think down the line of, who knows, maybe they'll do a different variation of Doom and I'll be like, yeah, I'm gonna paint that one too. So I hope you guys learned a couple things in this video, because I did. I learned a lot, did a lot of new techniques, even got a new airbrush in this video just to simplify larger areas and portions of models, because I'll tell you what, doing things with a small needle airbrush, because my Iwata is a 0.3, getting that 0.5 from that gallery pistol grip one that I got was life-saving. OMG, I'm going to be using that one for large area coverage forever. That thing is awesome, well worth the 50 bucks that it cost. But I hope you guys learned, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please leave a comment. I might actually end up doing a reel or a small little video painting this guy in the future. But other than that, I'm gonna close it out here. I'll see you guys in the next one. Leave a like, leave a comment, please subscribe. And like I always end my videos, keep on learning, because you can never learn enough, and just keep on painting and apply those techniques every single time you do it. Something new, something different, doesn't matter. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.